You are now listening to the voice of horror.
Lock your doors, bolt your windows, and turn off the lights. Make sure the kids are safe at home, cause you're headed to the Nightwatch zone.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, Monday nights, Slasher Movie Club. Coriander's with me, and this is going to be a really cool episode. We are going to be talking about American Psycho from 2000, starring the incomparable Christian Bale. And he truly is incomparable. This is going to be a lot of fun, man. We had our watch party last night for you guys that were able to join in. And thank you so much to our channel members and patrons and all supporters who have been there with us from the beginning. Real quick to say hello to you guys in the chat. Jason's in the chat. What's up, Jason? Saying good evening. Hey. Night and Coriander, so excited to be here. American Psycho is one of my all-time favorites. Nice.
Very cool.
That's cool, man. All right. We got Brandon's in the chat. What's up, Brandon? We got Denisha.
Hey, girl.
Philip. Val's in the house.
Hello.
All right. Dan's in the chat saying my SMC streak will be broken. Out with the kids. I'll catch the replay. Have a good one.
Oh my God. What?
Stop the stream.
Right?
Stop it.
Oh my God.
It's too funny.
Now have fun.
Oh my God. Yeah, have fun, man. He's all right, man. Michael's in the chat. What's up, Michael? Denisha saying night I had fun time yesterday. Yeah, it was fun watching this together as a crew. Yes, it was. No doubt. Val saying good evening, dear Corey. Coriander, you're the best. Yes.
Yeah. So are you, ladies.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we had a blast watching this last night. For you guys that were not here, telling you guys are missing some fun watch parties because we were lucky to have Denisha and our good friend Steven on the panel, and it's always fun getting reactions from people.
Oh my God, it is. And his reactions are like priceless, man.
They are, man. So let's get into this a little bit. Coriander, for me, I like I said last night, I hadn't seen this in so long, and I'm pretty sure I had only seen maybe bits and pieces. I don't even know if I watched the whole thing. So it was almost like a first time watch for me, which is absolutely ridiculous. But tell me about tell me about your connection to the movie, because I know you said you saw it in the theater. What was that like?
I did. Well, there was, like I said, a time in my life where if the movie wasn't R-rated, I wasn't going, we didn't go to the theater to see it. So, of course, we went and saw this, and I really didn't, I had no clue what this movie was about, I didn't, maybe I saw a trailer. I can't remember, but I don't think I really paid attention. But I mean, it was a pleasant surprise. And Christian Bale, I mean, wow, he did so good in this role. And obviously, I'm an 80s chick, so when the soundtrack was playing, it was like, oh yeah, this whole movie, it's like a big jam fest. So it was great. It was a fun experience. I enjoyed it. It was great seeing it on the theater, I should say on the big screen. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely had a lot of really interesting elements, and of course with the 80s soundtrack, so many great songs, but also the cast, man. I mean, directed by Mary Herron, and it has a cast that's absolutely unbelievable. You got Christian
I was
Bale.
a Jared Leto fan, so I was like, oh yeah, I have to check this out. So I didn't even know who Christian Bale was.
Right. Well, I think that this was definitely a movie that put him in the spotlight for a lot of people. But you had
Yep.
Willem Dafoe, Jared Leto,
Yes.
Josh Lucas, Chloe Sevigny, and Reese Witherspoon. I mean, it just had so many. Justin Theroux. It had a
Yep.
lot of just talented actors and actresses in this film. But this is the thing that got me, man. It was such an interesting film. Now, it's based on a novel that was published, I believe it was around 1990, 1991.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a basic story when you really think about it. As I was prepping for this episode, it's very basic. It's basically telling you the story of this New York City investment banker who leads a double life as a psycho, a serial killer.
Hmm.
And it's blending a lot of different things. It's blending horror with black comedy, and it's really a satire of the yuppie culture, consumerism, and everything back in the 80s. The golden
Oh
days.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. When
um,
cocaine was like it,
right,
the main
right.
drug of choice.
Yes, yes. Interestingly enough, there was a point where David Cronenberg and even Stuart Gordon from Reanimator and From Beyond fame, they were kind of considered to be the directors for this film before Mary Harron
Hmm.
got the gig. But anyways, let's get into some of this stuff, man, because I think with this film, it's such an interesting film to talk about and kind of deep dive a little bit. I know you were laughing at me and Steven last night at the end of the watch party, but it was just so many questions, man. So many questions. I mean, you
Yeah,
start
that's yeah.
you start off and Christian Bale he's just on a different level. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Everything that he does, even even his expressions, the way he talks, the
Mhm.
rhythm of the way he talks, the tone, is just so spot on for the character he's playing, this yuppie investment banker. But it's also got this I don't know, this stylish edge to it. And the dialogue was absolutely fantastic, man. I mean, what did
Yeah.
you think of like the dialogue, the beginning of the film, when he's talking to his buddies who are a bunch of a-holes, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you could just see what type of people these are.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's on like he was when he was what talking to the detective or something. He works on Wall Street and those type are, think they're all that and you
Yes.
could just see it and you could all these people and he obviously is in love with himself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's it's
Yep.
one thing to take care of yourself and that's a good thing. But he's like, yeah,
He
he's
goes
like
to
in
the
love with
extreme and
himself. He
everything.
does. He does.
Yeah,
So,
no doubt.
yeah. Mm.
Real quick too in the chat, Val was saying it was a freaky movie. It really was, man. Jason saying I saw this in the theater. I was blown away. One of the most
Yeah.
unique experiences of my life. All
Yeah.
right.
It was
Eric's in the
great.
chat. What's up, Eric? Saying
Hey.
hello. Great movie. And if you think the movie is messed up, the book is even worse. There you go.
Ooh.
I've heard that before.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard that. Ginger Ninja, what's up, man? Saying you like Huey
Hello.
Lewis in the news? So quotable.
Yeah. Yeah. Hip to be square.
Yeah. Uh, Philip saying the watch party was fun, especially seeing Val's reaction in the chat. Yes, yes, the watch parties are a lot of fun, man, and we really
Yeah.
enjoy it. And our good friend Steve was in the chat from Craving Something Scary, saying,
Hey.
"Hey guys, wish I could have made it tonight. I have to share that after speaking with Matt Berman last night, he shared that the axe in this scene was from the same batch of axes made and used in Urban Legend. That is
Oh,
awesome,
that's
man.
cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Matt is a really cool guy, man, and he confirmed something. I'll save that to the end, but we'll
Mm.
get to that. But he seemed like such a really cool dude. He really did.
Nice.
Yeah, no doubt at all. Um, Brandon, I've seen that bastard sitting in his office talking on the phone.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Oh my god, there was a lot of great quotes in this movie. It really was. But the thing that got me was as we get to know him and see him in his everyday life, it's such a I don't even know what the word I want to use. It's kind of a sad existence. You know what I'm saying? If that
Mhm.
makes any sense to you, you know,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. He like has to be
yeah,
the best at everything. Have no one can up him in anything.
Right,
So
right,
yeah.
right. And he's got his secretary here, Jean, who, is one of the few people it seems in his everyday life that is somewhat decent and
Hmm.
treats him decently. And, that kind of plays into some stuff later on. But the other thing too is even in his relationships, not even just with his friends, but even with his relationship with Reese Witherspoon's character, his fiancee Evelyn, it's absolutely superficial, and there's nothing to it. There's no heart and soul to it. You can
Oh
see in the
yeah.
car, he's listening to his music, and he's totally kind
Ignoring
of,
her.
yeah. It's absolutely crazy. But
Hmm.
the way that Christian Bale portrays this character, you follow him because he's so interesting. Like, you don't know what he's going to say, you don't know how he's going to say it. And like I was mentioning earlier, this film, it mixes horrific elements with black comedy, and almost seamlessly, because there were moments where, I'm watching it and I'm horrified, but there's also a lot of moments where I'm laughing or smiling.
Hmm.
It's just absolutely crazy. All these scenes where he's hanging out with his friends, they always got to go to the best restaurants, get the best dishes. I mean, it definitely is a satire for back
Hmm.
then. There's no doubt at all. Even when he goes to the dry cleaners, he's trying to get blood, stains of blood out of his sheets. And it's like, just the way that he is with people. It's wow,
Yeah.
too funny. Yeah.
Rude.
What what's up, Kay?
Hey.
He was part of that whole Yale thing. Yeah. Jason saying this was one of my first experiences sympathizing with an antagonist, feeling bad for him. He did indeed have a miserable life. He really did. And, not to jump ahead, but I think that he came to the realization of that, as the movie progressed, you know. He's having an
Yeah.
affair with one of his friends, his wife. There's so many different things. And there's Paul Allen, Coriander. Good old Paul Allen.
There he is.
Jared
Yep.
Jared Leto.
Mhm.
First of all, what did you think of Paul Allen and how he starts to play into the story at this point? Because it was just I hate to say it, it sounds bad to say it, but it was so funny.
Yeah, because, you know, he's another guy who doesn't give a shit. And
Yeah.
obviously, Patrick there is like obsessed with him. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's
Good point.
it's it's funny. And yeah, towards the end it's like shit. It's too bad. Like I wouldn't want to know this guy because if he likes you, then that could be a bad thing, but if
Yes.
he's like if he's jealous of you in any way, then that's even worse. And
Yeah.
yeah, no
Yeah.
way, man.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. Hey, Rick's in the chat saying I didn't feel bad for Paul Allen. There you go. And by the way, Rick, thank you so much again. Our newest channel member, part of
Oh,
the inner
nice.
circle. We really
Very
appreciate.
cool.
And I want to say this because we had this conversation earlier on the Lethal Collective, but I want to say this, for you guys that are members or supporters of the channel, it really does humble us. We're really appreciative of it because it's something that
Yeah.
does not have to be done. But for those who do like to show appreciation or try to help out content creators, and I don't mean just us, but it's a very special thing. And
Yeah.
we appreciate it. We don't take it
And
lightly.
not
So
only
thank you
that,
guys.
yeah, like it helps us like when we plan on like doing a trip, right? Like we're planning in September.
Mhm.
Hopefully when we go to this convention we're going to, we can get, some really interesting stuff for you guys, because we
Yep.
have VIP passes. So the fact that
Yep.
hopefully we could like sit with Robert Englund and have a drink with him and shoot the shit, it's
Yep.
like incredible to think of the people we could do this with. So
Yep.
yeah, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Jason saying the photo of the business cards explains it all. It does, man. I mean, look at
Yeah.
the look on Christian Bale's face. The thing that
Yeah.
he did so well in this movie is he was working on so many levels seamlessly from
Mm.
one moment to another, whether it was his smile, his disdain, his frustration, his anger, his obsession, his paranoia. I mean, he was
Anxiety up the roof. This guy
anxiety.
is like, screw that,
Yes.
man.
Yes, and there it is. Paul
Yeah.
Allen had the best card. He can get the
Yeah.
reservations at the best restaurant. He's got the best looking card with the
At
best
least for the
raised
moment.
font.
Yeah,
Right.
right? Because is that other dude, I can't think of his name,
Yes,
but
yeah.
who showed him his card and the look he gave, he like freaked out on that one. He was ready to kill
He
the dude.
he did,
So,
man.
right?
But look at Christian Bale's face, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. But this is
Bipolar shit too, man.
yeah, man. But I mean, this is kind of what started the downward spiral in the movie, and this is still early in the
Yeah.
film, man. But he sees the homeless guy on the street, and it's a really
Mhm.
interesting interaction. I kind of you already knew kind of where it was going, but again, the tension and the atmosphere, it was so well presented as a film. That when he killed this homeless guy, it was like wow. And
Mhm.
then at this party, man, again with his fiance. Look at the look on his face, man. He's just
Mhm.
Christian Bale was a delight in this movie. And
Yep.
once again, Paul Allen is always there. Look at the smile on Paul Allen's face.
He's
From now
living the
on,
life, man.
he is, bro. From now on, that's gonna be like a running joke on the channel, man. We're gonna call it Paul Allen moments. I mean, look at the look on his face. But
Yeah.
this is where it doesn't work too well for Paul Allen. And this is one of my favorite still shots of Christian Bale because that smile. There's so many things behind that smile. You know what I mean? And you
It's
know that he's
fake.
all
It's
he's
fake.
already planning to knock this guy out. And
Hmm.
this scene is one of the standout scenes, where he's doing his big monologue and he's talking about Huey Lewis. And by the way, he's not wrong about what he's saying about Huey Lewis. I just want to throw that out there. But Christian Bale he's owning this movie, and this
Oh
was
yeah.
such a standout scene. Just the way that he played it, just all the energy. It was just great. Coriander, this being at least one of two or three standout scenes, in my opinion.
Mhm.
What do you think of this scene, how it played out?
Oh, like you said, this is like one of the best scenes out of the film because,
Mhm.
he's obviously getting himself ready, putting on his raincoat, grabbing his
Yeah.
weapon, talking about some pretty good music.
Mhm.
And yeah, he just takes that axe and goes,
Goes to
Mr.
town.
Axe happy, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
no doubt. No doubt at all. And yeah, Michael, he did a good job. He really did.
yeah,
Yep. Ginger Ninja, I think my mask of sanity is about to slip. No doubt about that. Yeah,
right?
man. Yep.
Yeah.
You guys know the quotes. These guys in the chat, they know the quotes so well. Oh my gosh.
I wish I could see him.
Melissa in the chat. What's going on, Melissa? Good to
Hello.
see you. It even has a watermark. I know. I was laughing. I was laughing my ass off last night when we were watching this, man. It was so, just how he delivered his lines and just the silliness of it all. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you're right, Ginger Ninja, the dancing, it's definitely hip to be
Yeah.
square. Yep, no doubt. Um, but here's the thing, man. After he kills Paul Allen, and I loved it because he's dragging the body out, right?
Mm,
Now, there's something that I wanted to show this image because when I was watching it, it's something that really stuck in my mind. But you see what's on the ground behind him.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in this scene, he takes the bag with Paul's body in it, he dumps it into a taxi, and then we kind of just go off
But
the next.
did you
Go ahead.
notice? Like, I don't think you noticed. I know I noticed this. I don't know if you did.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's dragging it out, you
Mm-hmm.
know, of the hotel, well, wherever his apartment,
Mm-hmm.
if you looked on the floor, it wasn't there.
In the apartment,
Yeah, when he was dragging it through the lobby and it left that trail, you could see in the background that it wasn't there behind him.
you mean when it showed the camera facing him, his front?
Correct. And he was walking
Yes.
outside to the taxi cab. Did you notice that?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
You
Yep.
did notice
Yeah.
that? Okay.
Yep. Yep. And it's all, and I guess why I wanted to mention all that, and like you did, is just to show that this movie was very smart.
Yeah.
It
Like
had a
we were
lot of
talking about, is it in his head? What's going on?
Yeah.
Because that scene right there makes you think,
Right.
so
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, the next day, good old Gene is like, "Well, you have a detective here." And
yeah.
listen, you got a movie where Christian Bale is knocking it out of the park, and then you have, to me,
Willem Dafoe, yeah, man.
one of the best actors of all time, in my estimation. And although this was not a huge role,
Uh,
it was some really
He
good
was good.
scenes of
Yes.
of dialogue, him and Willem Dafoe. And this was just a great scene between two really, really good actors. And I totally enjoyed it. And
Yep.
one thing that Steven said during the watch party that I think was so true, and this is for you guys that are more from the old school, but the way that Willem Dafoe's character, the detective, was asking these questions to Patrick Bateman, it did remind me of something like Columbo. You know what I mean? Just the
Mm,
way that he was asking the questions and stacking up each moment in his interrogation, because that's basically what it was. He was interrogating Christian Bale in this scene. So again, um, shout out to Willem Dafoe once again, always standing out in anything he's in my humble opinion. Um,
yeah, he's
he's
great.
just he's just such a great actor. But
Hmm.
we get to the scene where Patrick is gonna get this girl off the street, this prostitute off the street. This is one of those scenes where again, you're just watching it and you're just like, wait a minute, what's gonna happen here? And it's one of those scenes to me where the tension was really thick because you didn't know what he was going to do. You didn't know if he was going to strangle her in this scene right here or whatever. And it was just like one of those things where like I almost don't even want to see what's going to happen. But then you get the part where he has the coat hanger near
Yeah,
the end of the scene and you're like, well, what's going to happen? And then you see that he didn't kill them, but he
which they
beat
were
them up.
lucky. Yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, thank goodness for small favors,
Hmm.
right? I mean, it's just like, but again, so that's just, well, I guess I'm mentioning this because it just shows how erratic he is. You know, he's working at multiple
These
levels.
girls, I mean, what do you expect? You're gonna run into violent people. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Especially with what you're doing. So
yes,
they
yep,
should be better prepared than,
true enough.
you know. But
This
anyway.
scene, this scene with Lewis too, man. Lewis, he shows that he has a business card too. It's like I said
Yeah.
last night on the watch party. It's like, I need to get a business card. What's going what's
Oh
going on?
no.
But he gets the business card, goes into the bathroom, and then you see Patrick put on gloves and go up to him, ready to strangle him. But then we find out that Lewis, he's gay. And so the
Hmm.
look on
Which, if
Patrick
you didn't
Bateman's
know,
face,
yeah, if you couldn't tell throughout the movie that he should be with his fiance,
right,
then
right.
I don't know.
But the look on Christian Bale's face, again,
Yeah.
just playing this role, it was just hilarious. He starts washing his gloves and all of this, and oh my god, it was hilarious. Real quick, let me get
Yep.
let me get to the chat too, man. This is just oh my gosh. Ben saying American Psycho totally falls within my top 5 all-time favorite movies. This is awesome, man,
Yes.
because we've had
Yeah.
so many people say similar things like this is one of their all-time faves, and I'm just thoroughly impressed with folks that they enjoy it so much, you know.
How could you not?
Kay saying I have to return some videotapes. I love it.
Yeah, it's the best
Um,
line though, right? It's a good way to
yeah,
get out of something.
yeah.
Especially back
Val's,
then, because you'd get
yeah,
charged, and who wants to
th-
pay that?
that's right. That's right. Val saying Bale did an amazing job with this movie. That's true. That's true. Let's see. Rick saying props to Willem Dafoe. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Gina's in the chat. What's going on, Gina? All right.
Hey.
And Brandon, you're so right, man. Think about this. Remember, we have Batman, the Green Goblin, and the Joker together in this one film, and this was 12 years before the Avengers.
Yeah.
Yes. So true, man. So true. Troy's in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. Then they had Defoe film it 3 ways: one where he knew he was guilty, one neutral, and one innocent. They spliced all three together. That's why it has a slightly off-putting vibe. And there, you can definitely tell That is so true. You can definitely tell. Yep. Gina's saying this isn't really my type of film. It's okay, but not something I'll rewatch.
Hmm.
Really? Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Um, yeah. But so to continue where we're at in the story, which this story was very simple, but it had layers and everything, which I thought was really cool. The scene where he is at the club and with his buddies, that's always a funny scene with him and all the guys. But then
Hmm.
there's this model that he's talking to once they leave. She was part of the group too that he was talking to. And then once they leave, they show the two of them getting into a cab. What was really interesting is the next scene, you see him like this, and you just see that little piece of hair, or I should say
Yeah.
long piece of hair. And it's like this movie was, to me, very, very well done, very well written, intelligent,
Mhm.
and so forth. But here's the other big scene, Coriander, when he invites Gene to come over to his apartment. And again, Gene is one of the few people that is decent,
Yeah, she cares about him.
and she really does. Yeah, she really
Mhm.
does care about him. Man, the scene starts off right off the bat when he says, "Would you like some sorbet?" He opens his refrigerator. He's got the head of the model in the refrigerator,
Well, in the
uh,
freezer. Yeah.
or freezer. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is just. And of course, Gene doesn't see it, and
Yeah.
he's giving her the sorbet, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's so gross. And she's just having a conversation with him, and he's starting to
It
check out
wasn't a
his
plastic
knives.
bag though, right? It's not like
It
in
was.
Phantasm where the little midget dude's dripping all over everything.
Right,
So,
in Reggie's ice cream truck, right,
yes.
right. But this scene was just crazy, man, because you feel so bad for this girl, and you just know this is not gonna go the right way. Coriander, and there she is with her sorbet. Coriander, what did you think of
Yeah.
this scene and how it played out?
Well, obviously you're like shit because you don't want her to get killed,
Right.
because like you said, she's a good character. She genuinely cares for him, and yeah, it's
Yes.
like she's done nothing. Not that any of these people have done anything, but out of all these pretentious assholes, she's like a real genuine like person, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
I could relate to you. You other fuckers, no. You I can.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, you fell for this chick and you didn't want her to get it. So
Yeah,
it
and
was a
she
great
she
scene.
she said something like, have you ever really wanted to do something nice for someone or something like that? I can't remember the line, but again, it just symbolizes the fact that she really is a decent person, number one,
Mhm.
and that she really has feelings for him, and it's very tragic how it plays out, because he's talking to her and then walking behind her with a nail gun. He puts the nail gun
Yeah.
literally like 2 inches away from the back of her head. And I
Yep.
was just like, here we go. It's over. And then of course she gets saved by the answering machine. Literally saved. And it was a scene that I think also illustrated his frustration, his disdain for life, and with himself, and again, Christian Bale was able to display that in his delivery of dialogue, the dialogue itself as well, but also his
But it showed,
expressions.
yeah, that he had control too.
Well,
That,
right, because he told her, I think you should go. If
yeah,
I
he
you
stopped
don't want to,
himself from, yeah.
yeah, you don't want to be hurt, do you, or something like that. And yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah, Ben was saying the line was, have you ever wanted to make someone happy? Yeah. Yeah, this scene was crazy, and Gene was the luckiest person in this whole thing, man. Now,
Right?
this is where it got a little crazy too, man, because when he talks to the detective again, Willem Dafoe is basically saying, "Hey, everything's cool.
Mhm.
You're not a suspect," and all that type of stuff. And the look on Christian Bale's face was absolutely like, "What?" You know what I mean? Like, then you
Mhm.
start to really wonder what's happened and what hasn't happened.
Mhm.
And I think that sent him on another type of spiral. Like he started spiraling down another set of
Yeah.
stairs
Because he was
in the
spotted,
film.
right? Yeah. And he was
Well,
like,
you mean Paul Allen?
yeah, in like
Yes, yes,
London or
right. and
something like that.
Christian Bale's like, well, how could that be? You know, because
Hmm.
Christian Bale killed him, right? So
Yeah.
I think it set him on another downward spiral. So then he meets up with Christy again on the street and is like, hey, let's get together again. She's like, I don't think it's a good idea, and all this type of stuff. And then he has his friend, who, by the way, this actress, I think she was the co-writer of the movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
I had found that out. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. But anyways, um, so he's basically just like, hey, let's hang out. It's going to be different than last time, because last time he not only bruised them, but Christy had to go to the hospital, you know, and
Yeah.
but of course, Patrick Bateman, he doesn't give a shit about anyone but himself, so he writes her a check, and then Christy sees Patrick killing the other girl, and this was another big scene, in my opinion, the chainsaw scene. Coriander, what did you think of this scene? Because Christy's like, I got to get the hell out of here, because what she sees is Patrick killing the other girl, stabbing her, and the girl screaming and everything, and then of
Yeah.
course, boom, chainsaw time. I think this was another standout scene. What did you think of it?
Well, she was smart because when she saw that he was paying more attention to her, she's like, I'm going to sneak away and get out. And
Right.
at first he didn't realize it, and that was so smart. And yeah, dude, it's too bad I think if she would have been on the farther side running down the stairs when he dropped it, maybe it would have missed her. But where
Mm,
she was running so close to the railing, and it's like,
hmm.
dude, this is a crazy scene. And running down the hall, banging on people's doors, screaming. It's like
Yeah.
you would think people would look, open their door or something, and he's got his chainsaw going after her. It's like,
Right.
wow, yeah, this is a scene where it's like you don't know if this is all in his head or what the fuck's going on.
Right. Well, there were definitely a lot of clues in the scene, and you just said it yourself. She's knocking
Yeah.
on a bunch of doors. No one's coming. He's got a chainsaw, which is obviously super loud, running through the
Right?
hallways, stark naked.
Buck ass
It
naked,
was it
right?
was it was an it was it's yeah, it was an insane scene, no doubt at all. The New York Chainsaw Massacre. I love that. That's great. And
Right?
so, she's running. I mean, she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. She's running. So, but then of course, like you said, the scene where he's at the top of the stairs. And I remember when I was watching, I'm like, no, wait a minute. What's gonna happen here? He drops the chainsaw and it obviously kills her. And it's like, wow, that was just so over the top and insane and crazy. And I guess there's a
Yeah.
reason for that. So
Yeah.
it seems like each of these scenes really set him up for his interactions with people, right? Because then he has this interaction with his fiance, and he's basically, again, look at the look on his face, man. This guy he's tortured, man. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, he really is. And he's basically telling her, I'm breaking it off with you. And of
Yeah.
course, poor Reese Witherspoon, she has absolutely zero fucking clue. She's like,
Right?
why, what's going on, and this and that. And so it was just one of those really crazy scenes. And he decides to leave, goes to the ATM, and look, Coriander, I don't know about you, but every so often when I go to the ATM, sometimes this comes up on the screen for me too.
E-
Feed me a stray cat. And there was
No.
a cat that was
A
right there,
kitten. It was a
kitten.
cute baby kitten.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden, shit goes bonkers crazy, man. This old
Yeah.
lady on the street is basically like, don't hurt the kitten, while he's got a gun. It's like, you don't
Mhm.
go up to a guy with a gun. So he shoots her. Cops
Mhm.
come. He's shooting up cop cars. He killed four
Yeah.
officers. There's this huge explosion that you should have seen in like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando. He's
Yeah.
running into apartment
Buildings.
complexes, and then he makes a call and he gives the whole confession. He said he's killed 20 or 40 people. He's given the whole confession. He killed Paul Allen. He faked the idea that Paul Allen went to London, and so forth and so forth. Now, let me ask you this, Coriander, because you saw this in the theater. If you remember, when you first saw this, what are you thinking at this point in the movie?
I was thinking, this dude's screwed, because he's
Uh-huh.
confessing to his lawyer, I killed all these people.
Yeah.
I didn't really, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Val saying this is where I started to question if it was real or not, or in his head.
mhm,
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is definitely it just gets crazy. But here's another scene that's even crazier, right? He said he's basically thinking, well, I got to clean up my mess. He goes to Paul Allen's apartment. He has his mask on, ready to rock and roll, and then what does he see? He doesn't see the bodies that we saw in a
mhm,
couple of scenes before this. It's all this equipment, a ladder, paint equipment, all that type of
mhm.
stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, what? He's totally confused. The lady who's the
Yeah.
realtor is like, what are you doing here? And
Mhm.
he's like, he's basically questioning his own mind. Isn't this Paul Allen's place? And is like, she's like, no. And she's basically like, you need to leave here and don't come back. And look at the look on his face, man. His whole world, his foundation is crumbling, man. It's like,
Yeah.
what the heck? You know? Ben
Yep.
also reminding us, he said, I killed Paul Allen with an axe to the face. His body's dissolving in a bath in Hell's Kitchen. Yeah,
Yes.
it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just absolute crazy. Nothing in the closet at all. Nothing. So of course he leaves. He makes a call to Gene. He's messed up, man. He's like, I don't think I can make it. And in that phone call, he's sad. He's
Yeah.
frantic,
Yeah.
and then he's got anger too. Don't sound so sad, and he's yelling at her. And Jean needs to get another job, bro.
Right?
She
Yeah.
really does. I feel bad for her though. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. So we come into the final scenes of the film, and again, this is just all of this is building upon each other too. By the way, I think that that's what to me was very interesting and intelligent of this film. But he's talking to his lawyer, and his lawyer is basically saying, "I saw Paul Allen." What did he say? I saw Paul Allen in London 10 days ago.
He had like lunch with him or
Had lunch
something.
with him.
And he's
Yeah,
like, I don't think this is funny. And yeah.
yeah. And Christian Bale is literally saying, I did it. I killed them. You have
Mhm.
to listen to me. And while he's doing that, Gene is going into his day planner and sees all the drawings and just the inner workings of his mind. And she's like,
Fantasies. Yeah.
yeah. And she's just like, oh my God, my
Yeah.
boss is an absolute nutball, you know.
Right.
Yeah, and the final scene, he's hanging out with his boys again, and they're watching something with, Reagan giving an address to the nation or whatever. And they're basically, this is so funny because they said something to the effect of, you've got to wonder, is he a harmless old man or is he a raging psycho inside or something like that? And of course, that's what this movie to me is really about too, about this really ill
Mhm.
person. And
Yeah.
you see the look on Christian Bale's face, again, tortured soul, and he realizes that he's not going to get the punishment that he's earned or deserved. That's how I kind of felt about the
He got
ending of
away
it.
with it, you know? He got away with it.
Yeah, and he's just
So,
totally, he'll never receive the punishment he deserves. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
He's in constant pain, and
Yeah.
he wants that pain to be inflicted on others. He doesn't want anyone else to not have to deal with that pain. You know what I mean? And that his confession hasn't meant anything. There's all these things that really come into play at the end, in my opinion, Coriander.
Mhm.
It was such a crazy ending, and then boom,
Yeah.
it cuts. You know what I mean?
Yep. Mhm.
Real quick, Jason saying the scene with Gene and the day planner was horrible. I felt so bad for her. I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chloe 70, she was really good in this role. It wasn't a huge role, but it was fairly pivotal because again, she was one of those few connections in his life that was again a decent connection and someone that actually cared for him. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So here's my question though, Coriander. What do you think
Yeah.
about what the ending says? Was this all in his head? We were talking about this on the watch party last night. For you guys that weren't there, you really missed a fun conversation.
Mm.
You got to join us for our next watch party. But
Yeah.
what do you think, Coriander? Was this all in his head or what?
Um, the only one I really question, like maybe it's possible, is the homeless dude.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, just because I don't know. It just I don't know. But I think
Mm-hmm.
all all the other shit. It was all in his head, obviously.
Crazy stuff, man. Absolutely
Yeah,
crazy. And like you were saying, the scene with Paul Allen's body in the bag, and like I said, they showed him with the bag,
yeah.
going through the hallway, and
Mhm,
it's a trail of blood behind him, right? So
mhm.
the thing of it is that how could that be real? Because if you're going to leave a trail of blood behind you, that's evidence that is easily going to put you
Oh
in the
yeah.
crime. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
when I saw that was the thing that came to my mind is like, wait a minute, that can't be happening.
Yeah.
It
See,
can't.
I didn't know if
You're
you
not going to leave.
noticed it. Yeah.
You mean before? You mean after they showed the camera to his
Yeah, not
front and
this.
no?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
wish you would
yeah,
have clipped a scene
yeah,
where it walked him when he
yeah.
was
But
outside
I know what you're
because you could
talking
see
about,
it.
and you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was where you really start to wonder a little bit, in my opinion. Brandon saying I'm in the camp that was all in his mind. He's bored with his life and peers. He fantasizes about making his life more interesting. And Rick
Yeah.
saying that he agrees. Yeah, definitely. Um, let's see. Yeah, this confession has meant nothing. Absolutely. It was a sad ending for this character. It really was. Not that he obviously wasn't a good person. You know what I mean? He was ill, but yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Um, Jason saying this movie is still timely today. Things really haven't changed all that much. It's gotten worse. Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, I think it's gotten worse, especially with, you know, racism and hate and all that shit.
hmm Well, and like they showed with him and his group, they care nothing. They truly care nothing about anything other than themselves, and they're so
Yeah.
consumed with themselves, self-centered, and the life that they lead is just so it's artificial, in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
It really is
Mm-hmm.
artificial and superficial as well. Val saying,
Totally.
I have to go with it was all in his head. I mean, no one checking out what was going on with the chainsaw scene, that whole ending scene just made me really think it was all in his head. There you go.
Yes.
Now, as
Yep.
usual, before we give our grade, we got to keep track of how many quote unquote kills there were in the movie. So you know what we got to play
That's
for
hard
real quick.
though, because it's
Well,
like,
but we're
what's
gonna do
that?
it though.
Yeah.
So you know what I got to do. We got to play our
Do it.
little kill count. Here we go.
Yeah.
16 kills, 8 male,
Damn.
8 female.
That's crazy.
I love the smile.
Yeah. Fake.
Right back.
I'll be right back. You gotta
Dun,
love it.
dun. Right?
Um, so yeah, just very, very interesting stuff. 8 and 8, and there's a question of how many that was. Denisha, thank you for reminding people. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps to support us, and we'd appreciate it. All right, Coriander. So you know how we usually do this thing as we come to the end here. We're going to
Mhm.
go through our grading system, our badge system, and just to explain that for those who may not know, if you're newer to Slasher Movie Club, we have our 4 badges, meaning that we think the film is excellent, is that you need to see it as a horror fan, and if you can, you should even buy it on physical media. Then we have our 3 badges, which means that we think the film is good, and we have our 2 badges, meaning we think the film is okay. You could take it or leave it. And then, of course, Coriander, we have
Yes.
our dreaded
Oh no.
1 badge, which means
Yes.
that it's horrible,
A whole list
aka,
of shitty movies.
aka dark territory, aka don't go in the woods alone, aka blood cult, aka good night, God bless, aka student bodies,
We
and so
got it.
forth and
Yes.
so forth. All right. So, Corey,
Yeah.
come on, man. You gotta let me do my thing, man. I gotta have fun doing this stuff, man. All the work that we put into this. All right.
No,
So
I know, but
tell
we get
tell
it.
me tell me what you're going to grade American Psycho.
Okay. So this is just my opinion. I know like some
hmm
people said this movie is not for them,
hmm
but I would give it a 4. I used to own it, and if I should own it again, but I don't. So there you go.
Okay. Well, hey, Christmas is coming up, man. So you never know. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Santa
True.
Claus is coming to town. All right, so you're going to
Good
give it a
boy.
4.
Yeah.
All right. So listen, guys, this is how I'm going to look at it. Now, at this present point, and it's too bad Dan's not here, but when he watches the replay, he might message me afterwards. I believe we are coming up to like 100 episodes on Slasher Movie
Oh.
Club. Pretty
Oh,
sure of that.
wow.
If we haven't eclipsed it yet.
Holy.
But here's the thing, guys. This movie had a lot of interesting elements. So my score for it is going to be 4 badges, man. And can I just
Yeah.
say something? This might be the easiest 4 badge movie we've ever had, in my opinion.
Wow. Wow.
This was beyond a no-brainer. This movie is fantastic. There's no friggin' doubt about that. I want to talk more about this movie. That's how
Wow.
amazing it was to me. This could definitely be one of the high
Well, you
or
should do it
the
in your morning stream.
well,
Be
we'll
part
see.
of
We'll
your
see what I'm
morning
gonna do.
stream.
Well, we'll see
Yeah.
what we're gonna do. But this is probably the highest rated movie
Yeah.
from top
Talk
to
about our,
bottom that
yeah,
we've
one
done.
thing. Yeah, one thing you have to do in your morning stream, babe. You got to talk about our convention coming up.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna do
You've
that. I'm
waited
gonna
way
do that.
too long.
Well, no, I'm gonna do that, but that'll be for
All
a
these
different
people need
stream,
to
though.
know how cool when we go in September.
It
This is
will
gonna
be.
be. Yes.
He will be. All right. So Brandon saying easily a 5-star movie,
Yeah.
perfection. All right. We got Jason saying 4
Yeah.
badges. All right. Kay's going with 4. All right. Troy saying I prefer it not being in his head, ties into the themes more. Laura thinks he had lunch with Paul, but these people are all interchangeable with each other. They cleaned the apartment to rent it out, etc. That would be an interesting way to go. That would. Yeah. Val saying this is definitely 4 badges. Not only was it an awesome movie, it definitely has rewatchability factor.
Oh, that's awesome,
Absolutely.
Val.
Yeah.
Nice.
Denisha going with 4.
All
Troy's going
right.
with 4.
Nice.
Let's see. Melissa, an 8? There's no 8. What? You guys are too
4
funny, man.
is like the best you
4 is
can
the
get
best.
here.
Yeah.
Exactly. We know other
Rick's,
people do like all whatever they do, but
yeah,
4
we
is the
want to make
best
this
here.
easy. We want to make this easy for me here. Rick's going with an easy 4.
Nice.
Philip saying I give it a 3. It's not really my thing, but it was definitely interesting and worth a watch. Okay.
Well,
All
there
right.
you go.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay. Well, anyways, guys, that's our discussion for American Psycho. I think it was a really well-made movie. And if nothing else, I think everyone can agree. What a fantastic performance by Christian Bale. This was like on the
Yeah.
level. This is on the level of, Anthony Perkins in Psycho, Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs. I mean, this was
Yeah.
just great stuff that he did.
Okay.
And
Have you
yeah,
question? Have
yep.
you thought about what we're doing next week?
We don't have our movie set up yet.
Okay. Can I
Yeah.
maybe throw something out there?
Uh okay.
It's just, it's just a suggestion.
Okay.
When are we gonna talk about my boy Jason? We need to pick a
Well,
Friday movie and do it. Whether
well,
it's
well,
3 or,
I don't know about that. Let's talk about that. Let's
2.
talk about that. Let's talk about that off camera because I don't know if we're gonna do that because we've gone through
But
those, but we might do that
but
for a different
still,
reason.
dude,
Yeah, we
Slasher
might.
Movie Club.
Well, obviously, I
And we
know.
haven't
Well,
talked
what?
about Jason.
Yeah. Well, we haven't talked about a lot of the other iconic slashers either,
Well, I'm
but
not
there's a
talking
reason for
about
that.
them. I'm just talking. All right.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But anyways, for you guys in the chat, let us know what you think about American Psycho, and
Yeah.
all the little ins and outs. It's such an interesting film. It
Yeah.
really, really was. But let us know some more of your thoughts, maybe even some favorite moments or quotes, because you guys were coming up with some really good ones. That was really cool. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps to support us. We'd appreciate it. And we will catch you guys next time. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Upchurch.